And we're live.
Voila. Hey, everybody. Capt Ron here with this week's episode of Fearless Flight Live with my good friend and cohort and partner in crime sometimes, at least when I can coerce him into being a criminal like me. I'm not going to tell you what that means, but anyway, welcome, everybody. We're glad to be here, and we're glad that you're here, no matter what you did, to take time out of your day to see what we have to say.
Mhm.
And tonight, we have a variety of information. We're going to talk about the 301 class. We're going to talk about a couple of things about the TSA that came up. One, because of the class we have, oh my gosh, a week from this Saturday,
Yeah.
and another one in general about that, both about the TSA. So without further ado, let me see if I can get this show on the road. And I lost my.
Whoop.
There we go. All right.
There we go.
So, official welcome. Capt Ron and Dieter here to help you out with your fear of flying needs. This is our show every week that we do for anyone who has a fear of flying, or someone who knows somebody. Some of you might just know somebody who's afraid of fear of flying, and or if you're just fascinated with airplanes and flying like we are. So, welcome everybody. We have a Facebook group, private Facebook group called Fearless Flight Birds of a Feather. And geez, I got a really great testimonial today from someone said, that group is really great. And I want to compliment any of you and all of you who are in that group out there. And if you're not, what's wrong with you? No, seriously, just join it and see what it's like, and where you can give and receive support. And that's the best part about it. Tonight looks like a short thing, but whoops, it wouldn't be so short if I put the return in the right place. Let's see if I can fix it live on TV here. That'll be fun. And nothing like whoops. Left the Y. And of course, then it wants to. It's so much easier flying airplanes, everybody. Anyway, 301, Real ID, which should be at the top of your list if you don't have one and you're planning to fly. And then something that kind of related to that, also controlled by the TSA, packing smart and flying calm. And then, of course, any questions you might have. So sit back and relax and enjoy the evening with us here, or at least the next 30, 40 minutes or so. Okay, the link on the left is for anybody who will be in the Phoenix area and would like to fly with us on May 31st. The link on the right is for anybody in the Los Angeles area, and we'll be boarding our flight from Burbank. As you know, I'm going to this time start in the morning on Saturday morning, May 31st, with an 8:40 departure. We're going to leave Burbank and come over to Phoenix. We're going to gather some folks up from Phoenix and fly back to Burbank. And we're hoping we got a nice crowd forming. And if you've been on the fence or thinking about it, please consider joining us. Look at all those happy faces there, including Dieter right there. This is a group, one of the many groups that we've flown. Gosh, it had to be at least in the last 8 years, I guess, if Dieter's in it, because that's how long he's been part of this team.
Yeah, that was actually 2019. That was one of the
The last one?
one of the last
Yeah.
ones out of Phoenix. And we had Jeff Lindquist in that picture. We had God, what's the young kid that helped us out all these years. Well, he's a student now.
Chris Junta.
Chris, yes, Chris.
Yeah. Not only a student, he's works for Boeing now.
He's actually working. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's back here in town. He's from Phoenix. This is a young man who came to us, first of all, when he was 7 years old. His dad brought Chris, and he came for years and finally flew with us. I have a fun. So, matter of fact, that reminds me, when we do the flight preparation class next Thursday. If I can remember it, I'll put Chris's reaction in there. Yeah, he looks quite different now. He's in his early 20s, graduated from Notre Dame. He's a great kid, just a wonderful human being. And he's working here in town for the Boeing Aircraft Company. And
That's
I had
amazing.
I actually had him on as a guest one time and he had a conflict. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll get him back on Thursday night if I can con him into it and he's not working. Anyway, so you see the fare up there, that's what it was. They were having a bit of a sale left over. I don't know if that's still valid, but that is the Burbank folks will use this slide or will use this itinerary. And the Phoenix folks will use this itinerary. You can see in Burbank, we'll launch out of there at 8:40 and Phoenix will launch out of there at 11:10. So come all. We'd love to have you. What is the graduation flight? It's a culmination of your journey. It's a fully supported commercial flight on a Southwest airplane where everything you've learned becomes real. And it gets real fast. And it's an awesome experience just for, if nothing else, for the support and the camaraderie of the other people out there that are just like you. As I said, Burbank and Phoenix, we're going to board in both destinations and a round trip with full coaching support, me and others. Expected day that's filled with, like I said, compassion, camaraderie, and coaching from the gate to the cruising altitude and back. We'll have a group debrief and certificate ceremony over in the Burbank area, and then we'll fly home on the last leg with the Phoenix folks. These are some testimonials from people. Very common. Never thought I could do it, but I did. Life-changing and the most supported. The last one is probably the most relevant. When you say Dieter, I mean
Absolutely.
people supporting each other. It's truly a wonderful thing.
And I will say, Ron, one thing that I think we often we don't advertise it, but I can tell you without really looking at our history, there are lifelong friendships that form on each of those flights. And what that means is really having somebody that gets you, that is with you, and that is going through it with you and coming out the other side. And that's priceless, honestly.
It is, and it's so true. We'll do a coaching call next Thursday night. We'll start it at 6:30. We'll plan it for an hour. It's a group briefing about what to expect, all the details and things like that. So you get plenty of information in advance there. You get both in-flight and gate-side support. Custom visualization. If you wanted to do that, just contact me and I'll let you know how to do that. And we have graduation certificates, so we celebrate it, and we really would like to have you there. You don't have to take any classes, but the 101 class is nice to have taken. Get ready for real world exposure, and again, if you want to fly with coaching and community support, this is the place to do it. We put these up there before. Tuition $397. I think is the special still on the early bird thing?
We'll still have it on.
So you can get it for $297. And the Southwest Airfare was at $180. I don't know. Again, I apologize. I did not go over there and check before the show this evening. So, okay. And it's not just a trip; it's a celebration of your journey, and it's the only way to measure how you're doing. Really, you got to get on the airplane, as Tom Ross used to say, and it's time to take that leap for some of you. And again, it's a safe, encouraging environment where you can test your wings literally on a real commercial flight with me on board with you. So, if you want to be one of these happy people up there, come and join us on the 31st. Because as we say, you were meant to fly, all right? Despite the fact that you weren't born with wings. So again, Saturday, May 31st, Phoenix and LA. Just pick your departure point and come and fly with us. Okay, I had some people this week, a couple people on the 301 flight ask me a question that I only learned the answer to last week. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a background on this. And this is Real ID 2025, what you need to know. Tonight, we'll dive into this topic. It's been stirring up a bit of confusion and curiosity, and let's be honest, a little bit of procrastination. It's called Real ID, and if you've ever wondered, do I need one, or is my license already good enough, or even what in the world is Real ID, you're not alone. There's a lot of people out there that don't know that, even though the deadline is no longer ahead of us, it's behind us. So anybody flying now has to have a Real ID or an equivalent, and we'll talk about what the equivalent is. So we'll cut through the government speak and lay it out in clear terms for you so you have a better understanding. So what is it? It's a post 9/11 security measure, and it was designed to standardize the identity verification process across state lines. This is exclusively for the United States. Do you guys have anything like that in Canada, Peter?
No, we do not. We do not.
Okay. Yeah, state issued license, but it's administered by each state to get the Real ID. So the basics: Real ID is a federally compliant form of identification. So it meets federal standards, but it's administered by each individual state. And like I said, it came out as a post 9/11 security reform under the Real ID Act passed in 2005. So they started in 2005. They said, we're going to go to this Real ID program. And it isn't some brand new ID. It's an enhanced version of your current driver's license or state issued ID that meets tougher federal standards. And what does it do? It gives you access to federally regulated spaces like boarding a plane or entering a federal building. And the importance of this deadline, because we had somebody that came to our last class and they were not allowed to go through. Fortunately, they had a passport with them, which is one of the alternatives. So if you're like this person that's flying with us on May 31st, who did not found themselves without time to get their Real ID from their state motor vehicle division, you can use your passport. And in a minute, we'll talk about some other things like that. The big date was May 7th. From that day forward, and they postponed this, I think 3 or 4 times over the years. And then finally they said, no, that's it. May 7th is the deadline. So if you're 18 or older and you want to board a domestic flight or enter certain federal facilities, you got to have a Real ID or an acceptable alternative like a passport. No compliant ID, fly. Okay. And they're very adamant about that. How do I identify it? This happens to be one for Arizona that clipped off the top of the slide, but it has a star up there. So the thing that's common, I believe, to all the states is they'll have a star up in the upper right-hand corner. It says the star may be gold, black, or white in a gold circle, depending on your state. IDs marked not for federal identification are not compliant. Okay, so the older version before I got mine, it said that. And let me reiterate, what's it used for? It's your ticket to domestic air travel. It also gets you into secure federal facilities. I imagine like courthouses and federal buildings. Your nuclear plants, courthouses, and military bases. Oh, interesting, because I was gonna go visit the Air Force Academy here in June. In June, and I was wondering because they've changed their policy, and it probably goes along with this. I guess I'm just thinking out loud, folks. Sorry. So apparently I'll be able to use my Real ID to get onto the base because they're requiring that you do that. Dispel myths. Here's busting some of those. It's not a national ID or some kind of tracking chip. It won't replace your passport, and it won't let you travel internationally. You still got to have a passport for that or a visa. And think of it as a key to specific federal spaces within the U.S., not a one-size-fits-all document. Acceptable alternatives. You can have a passport or a passport card. So here's something: you cannot use your passport card as your passport, but you can use your passport card as your Real ID. Again, Dieter, do you guys have a passport card?
No, we do not.
Yeah.
We used to have something called an enhanced driver's license, which is similar to that Real ID, but that was stopped in 2019. So the safest way for any Canadian is to have their passport, to be honest with you. That is
and it's always a good thing for us too. They started about 15 20 years ago, starting with this passport ID. It's kind of a handy little thing you carry in your wallet and not have to carry your passport all the time, especially if you're overseas. Military ID, global entry card. This was a surprise to me. I have TSA PreCheck and I have global entry. And this is kind of a segue, but if you want to get TSA PreCheck, you go online, tsa.gov, and go to the PreCheck place, the pages there. And I recommend if you're going to be in and out of the country, even once a year, going to Mexico or Canada, global reentry is really essential because it helps you avoid all the lines. And this is another reason I can't imagine anybody having a TSA PreCheck and a global entry card, but not a real ID. But nonetheless, that might be it. And if you find yourself in that category, you can use your global entry card to do that. Such a thing as a permanent resident card is also that, and federally recognized tribal IDs. So those are alternatives to real ID. Who needs one? Who should get one? If you're a frequent flyer who doesn't want to carry your passport all the time, it's super convenient. I've gotten more into the habit of carrying my passport, but if you don't want to, you can use, this is all you need, like the old days when they accepted a driver's license. If you need to enter federal buildings regularly, it's a must because it just expedites the process. And if you want just one card that does it all, this is a good investment. And this is the process. Most states, you have to apply through your state's DMV or licensing agency, bring documents proving identity. I think in the US, you have to have 2 documents. A social security number and residency, and then you have to make an appointment, verify your state's requirements in advance. I think you might be able to walk into the DMV in Arizona, but it's always better if you can get an appointment because it saves a lot of time. Costs and state
question is
okay.
So the question is clear ID the same as real ID? And
negative.
The
and
short
you know what?
answer, I know it's no.
Yeah.
But there is such a thing as clear ID, correct?
Right. And that's a great question. We'll have to Google it, Dieter, because I do not know. And I never even thought about that. That's a good point. If you had clear ID, you can certainly get through security. I think, but I don't. Yeah, clear ID. I will let you guys ever ask that question. If they're listening live, maybe they can answer this and put it in the comments there. Do you have clear ID? Have you used it? I used to have it, but it's been a while. And if you use it, do they require you to have another ID when you go up there? I know you got to have a boarding pass or a ticket to get through there. So that'd be interesting to find out. The cost of the ID varies from $25 to $65 depending on your state. And some states offer enhanced driver's license, which provide even more benefits. So that's above and beyond your needs for travel, but you might check on it if you think about it. And if you're due for renewal, it's often easy to upgrade when you renew your license anytime you're at the DMV. Okay. Children in the real ID. Minors under 18 do not need a real ID to fly domestically, but the adults traveling with them do. If your child is flying alone, check with your airline for specific policies because they're going to want to have the child have some sort of ID to make sure they keep track of them if they're traveling unaccompanied. The big thing is you are the parent or guardian and need to have a compliant ID because you're going to go through and go through security and get there. And here's the kicker again: no real ID or acceptable alternative means you're not getting past TSA. So we will get an answer on that clear ID. And like I said, I remember having a clear card, but I guess that must have gone through some process, but I don't remember exactly how I got that. So, and again, without a real ID, not only won't you be able to fly domestically, you won't be able to get past TSA, you won't be able to get into some federal buildings. Okay, and while TSA may try to verify your identity another way, that's not a guarantee, and it definitely won't be as fast. So you want to do this seriously. Myths and misconceptions. It's clear there. It isn't a national database or a GPS chip tracking your every move, and it doesn't replace your passport. And you don't need it to vote or go to the doctor. It's just a more secure, standardized form of ID for federal use. So basically, flying domestically, getting into some federal buildings. That's the main purpose for it. Okay? All right. What to do next? Check your license for the STAR. If you don't have one, you got to go get one. You go to your DMV's website and make an appointment, gather your documents. And of course, and this was an old source I saw today, said, don't wait till May 6th. Well, you've waited. If you haven't got it now, you're past that thing. So get out and get one. Okay. Here's another quick presentation we put together that I thought you might find interesting, and that is packing smart and flying calm. Now, the flying calm part of this relates to helping you avoid some of the stressful experiences that people have when they're going through TSA and they've got stuff that causes the TSA to either pull them out, check their bags, or various things like that. So this is a special edition that we're doing tonight to present this. And we're talking about, this is one of the most overlooked but anxiety-provoking parts of travel, and that is packing. What do you pack? How do you pack? Specifically, what you can and can't bring on an airplane, and how knowing the rules can help you fly with a little bit more peace of mind, okay? Let's start. This is the most recent update. Portable chargers and power banks with lithium-ion batteries are now banned from checked baggage. This is due to the fire risk that they pose in the cargo hold. There was an incident years ago. I mean, before I retired even. So back in the early 2000s, where they had a cargo airplane, namely a UPS airplane. So they didn't have any passengers in back, but they were hauling a pallet of lithium-ion batteries. And the airplane, fortunately, after they got on the ground, the airplane caught fire and it completely burned up the airplane. And so when they did the investigation, they couldn't find anything on the airplane that could have caused the fire. So they speculated that it may have been due to the lithium-ion batteries. And we know that those things can go into an overheat mode where they keep doing their thing and they get really hot. That's why. So why can you bring them on the cabin? Because we can get it out and we can throw a fire extinguisher to it. So now you're not even, you can't even really carry your computer in your suitcase because if it's got a lithium-ion battery in, which most of them do. So always pack these in your carry-on. And the only glitch in that is if your bag gets gate checked, you'll need to remove them and carry them with you into the cabin. And they will ask you when you check a bag at baggage claim or the baggage counter, when you check in, they will ask you if you have any hazards or lithium-ion batteries in there. And then should you be unlucky enough for them to pull your carry-on baggage and put it in the cargo compartment, they will ask you similarly, do you have anything hazardous in there, or do you have any lithium-ion batteries? And if you do, you just open it up, pull them out, and store them. So,
and I remember we actually, Ron, I don't know if you remember that, but we actually reported on an American Airlines flight. I think it was in December last year. I'm not 100% sure, but it was actually a lithium battery for a vape, like one of these electronic vapes. And I remember because that was a fire that actually it began overheating, not in a cargo hold. It was on the person, and all of a sudden it started malfunctioning, overheating. I'm not sure. I think it has something to do with the pressure changes or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but you're in fact right, and you see that on the slides. E-cigarettes and vape pens are not allowed in check bags. Things like e-cigarettes, pepper spray, and even some types of aerosol sprays, no can do. The rule of thumb is if it can ignite, leak, or explode, it shouldn't be in your suitcase. Knowing these rules ahead of time, of course, it can remove a lot of stress about when you go through there. People have asked me about gummies. I didn't, because some states allow them, some states don't, and it's still not federally permissible to have marijuana on your person. but of course they're very common with a lot of the states now. So that comes up, and I don't know what to tell you. You might call the TSA and check ahead of time there. So that's another thing. Okay, and this is all about the TSA's liquid rule. 311 is still in place at most U.S. airports. This is something I don't know if you noticed it, dear, but when I went overseas a couple years ago, they were much more involved in this than they were a lot of other things. They made sure you had the plastic bag with your liquids in there, so that it was easily visible and you could pull it out. Over here, they've gotten lax. I can't remember the last time that somebody said, where's your little plastic bag with your liquids in it?
But
You were going to say something?
in all the major hubs that I just went through, nobody really made a big deal out of the liquid rule. So
Yeah. And so what this means is each liquid must be 3.4 ounces or less. And if you go in the travel section of pharmacies and things like that, they usually have a special section for travel devices like that, and fit in a 1 quart size clear bag. And you get one bag, so you're not even supposed to have two of these things. So, okay. And even semi-liquids like peanut butter or toothpaste count. And remember, it's not about the container size. It's about how much is left inside. Okay. And I don't, if you had something that said it was 5 ounces and it was half empty, I'm not sure that would cut it. They're probably going to limit you to the 3.4 ounces on the packaging thing. Another thing along this line is I found out about 6 months ago now is you can take a water bottle, a clear plastic water bottle, fill it with water and freeze it. By the time you get to the TSA, it's still frozen, they will let you take it through. If it's in any way, shape, or form liquefied, they won't do that. But so you can do that. Otherwise, the easiest way, most of the airports that I've seen now have the water stations where you can fill things up. So you can go through with an empty water bottle and then fill it up on the other side if you so choose. Okay, exceptions. Now here's some exceptions to the liquid rule. Medications, if you got a prescription for it, baby formula and breast milk are allowed in larger quantities, but they must be declared at security. So you got to tell them when you go, prior to going through security, that they're in your possession so they can be aware of it. Here's just a FYI, wrapped gifts. They may need to be unwrapped. And that's true whether you check them or whether you carry them on or whether you send them through security. So ride at your own risk kind of thing. And even candles have rules. The solid ones are fine in carry-ons, but gel candles must go into checked bags. Okay. These are some things that are prohibited from all luggage. You can never, under any circumstances, and this speaks to what Dieter was talking about, they're simply not allowed on the airplane at all. Checked or carry-on, butane, lighter fluid, fireworks, alcohol over 140 proof. That was interesting. I'm not sure that's exactly all that it's meant to be, but they can fine you or at the very least cause delays, and in some cases you may not be allowed to fly with them at all. So you just want to. This is to help you not get all anxious about something that you didn't expect to. Okay, and to ease your anxiety, keep all your essentials in your carry-on. Medications for sure, identification for sure, chargers for sure, and valuables. Keep them with you in your carry-on. And the source for this, you can see the website down at the bottom there. It's TSA's What Can I Bring tool before packing. And it's at that long thing there, tsa.gov/travel security screening, what can I bring /all.
And I also put it in chat as well, the link.
Okay, cool. And then, one of the things I should have brought mine. I have, you could call it a man purse, whatever, but it's a shoulder device that goes around me, and it's designed with places to put my cell phone, my passport, and a wallet, things like that. About 3 years ago, when I was going to Europe, somebody recommended doing that because there are places in Europe where pickpockets are more prevalent. I understand, and so you might be a little bit less likely to get fleeced if that was the case. But I use it even flying domestic now. However, if you're getting on board, it counts as a secondary bag. So if you have a backpack and that's your 2 bags. If you have a purse and a backpack, you have to pack the purse thing, the man purse thing, in one of your containers there. And the airlines, some of them are enforcing, they will not let you wear it when you're on takeoff or landing. They will make you take it off and stow it, I guess with the theory that you might get it caught on something on the seat if you were trying to do an emergency evacuation. Okay.
And I will say this, I honestly, I in Europe, I wore mine because I have that as well. And I wore mine everywhere. And nobody said anything. The only place was Toronto. So that's much more of a North American thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Here it's hit and miss. Sometimes you can, same airlines, sometimes you walk through, nobody says anything. Other times you walk through and they're more cognizant of it and they'll say something. So the big thing about this this is part of a coping strategy philosophy, and preparation is powerful. It's always better when you know what to expect and you prepare for it. And knowing what's allowed can reduce the mental clutter that may, be something that trips your trigger when you get on the airplane. And we don't want that. We want you to be as calm as you possibly can be before you get on the airplane. And so one way to look at this is visualize going through security calmly, bringing these grounding items, and use distance self-talk. So for example, you say to yourself, you've done this before, you got this, and combine that with deep breathing to center yourself at every stage of your flight. And a few final tips: review the airline and the TSA rules in advance. Even if you fly a lot, because they make changes sometimes, and if you want to be more informed about that if at all possible. And keep your important items easily accessible, like your medicines, like your passport, like your wallet, and things like that. And remember, commercial aviation is incredibly safe. That's the whole thing. Just because you feel anxious doesn't mean you're in any danger. But most of all, when you're prepared and you replace anxiety with confidence, it's always easier. And remember, every flight you take is a step towards freedom and empowerment. So we want you to do everything in your power to make yourself more comfortable when you're flying. So, any other questions or anything? We'd love some feedback if this was helpful, or
I got a couple things. So first, Marcia is saying expect long wait times at DMV if you don't have an appointment in.
Oh, good.
That's for Miami.
Yep.
I would imagine that's pretty much at any DMV.
Yeah.
And then Tracy said you can bring saline solution for contacts, the big container. You just they just test it real quick.
Okay.
You'll have to tell them. I guess when you go through, and so I guess there are things that you need to know about that if you have contacts. And then I wanted to just say Clear ID and Real ID. So I looked that up. So they're different systems. Clear is a private company that offers airport security screening. And as you said before, Real ID is a federal standard for state-issued identification cards. So, and the Clear ID is a membership program that you basically have to pay to be part of a membership, and it allows you expedited security.
Yeah, kind of a private TSA pre-check, basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but did it say, Dieter, that whether it will suffice as Real ID?
That it did not say.
Okay, we'll find out.
Clear is a convenience service, and Real ID is a federal standard. They're not the same thing and serve different purposes. So
yeah, okay. And oh my God, I just had one other thing that I meant to mention.
I think you will still need a Real ID. But
yeah, and you could. If somebody knows, let us know. But we'll find that out and put it out. And also, you could call the TSA or probably look on their site and ask that question there. So one thing I wanted to say was none of this precludes you being pulled randomly and checked. So it happened to me the last time. I go through and the metal detectors sometimes, if some of them are set differently, your belt buckle or something like that. And I was clean. I knew it was clean. Go through there, and he said, no big deal. You're just randomly checked. So they pull you out and they check your carry-on as well. And sometimes they'll go through it. Sometimes they'll just do the explosive swab and then put that under the scanner and do that. And then sometimes, because I do carry a lot of portable batteries and stuff like that, sometimes if they're stacked, depending on where you're at and how good the scanner is, sometimes they'll pull it out and make you flatten those out. So anyway.
When you and I travel with a lot of electronic gear, so that's always if there is such a thing, it goes through the scanner and they can't actually
see through
it, then
yeah,
you might be a candidate for
it. If Dieter or I are on your airplane, you will not have complete electrical failure. We will definitely have power. We could probably power the main bus on the airplane. So if we can just get a plug to it. So anyway,
exactly.
Okay. Well, thanks, Dieter. Thanks, everybody, all of you out there again. Hope it's been informative. I never know, but we appreciate all the feedback. Thanks for all the comments. I've been noticing I get a notification when people make supportive comments, and there have been some great ones out there, and particularly the feedback.
Good theory. Joan, sorry, but I gotta share that. Joan has a good theory. She said, I've been randomly checked many times. I think it was because I looked so nervous. So
it could be, Joan, but yeah, but it really isn't supposed to be anything other than random. No, I suppose if you made a statement that got their attention, they might grab you, but usually it's just random. So don't take it personally. That's what we'll say.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Dieter. Thanks to all of you out there. We'll see you again next week for another episode of Fearless Flight Live. Have a great week and keep flying, and come and fly with us on the 31st.